Rob here, you know, the guy that still likes to play video games, isn't a paid content creator, and who finds the general public questionable. So, 3 months in, there's a game called Jump Space. Used to be called Jump Ship. It's a lot of fun. It's a 4-player co-op, but you can play solo. And in general, I like where it's going. Recently, the developers teased features coming in Update 3, which is scheduled to release around late March. Now, as a reminder, this game is still in early access, so everything and anything is subject to change with or without notice. I'm sure they're going to give us notice. So Jump Space is the kind of game where you crew a spaceship, you go around completing missions in order to fight the robot horde that was taken over by some kind of virus. No, not the beer virus. And it wants to kill people. It's sort of like Barotrauma, sort of like Deep Rock Galactic, and it gives me an aesthetic similar to that as Satisfactory. Legit, it's a good game so far, so I've gotten about 50 hours out of it for a pre-release title. Anywho, let's get to some of the stuff that was teased. I don't recall who was the first to put sliding in first-person shooters, but they're adding it to Jump Space. There's really not much to say about it. You slide. You could shoot while sliding. The end. For some strange reason, they put a lot of emphasis on this sliding feature. I don't know, maybe because they didn't have a lot to talk about, but, I mean, it's sliding. You're not making a baby. Or are you? Also, in the pre-alpha version of the game, there was a soccer ball in the hangar that you could, you know, kick around and shit, and it would completely crash everything. Just utter oblivion. They finally fixed it. Now you can shoot the ball and you can kick it. They're also entertaining the idea of taking it on the ship, or you could craft it somehow. Yeah, we'll see. It's more of an Easter egg like the gnome. And here's one I've been waiting for a while. Granados. Grenades. So often when I'm in the heat of combat in this game, and I'm pinned down as hell, I wish that I had a grenade to chuck. And I don't have one. So by fixing the soccer ball, they tweaked something with the physics engine to begin working on introducing grenades. So I have no idea if they're just going to be purely destructive and frag grenades, or there's going to be variants, electronic countermeasures, yada yada yada. I'd reckon there's going to be a couple different types, but don't quote me. Probably the most controversial change is going to be the mission heat mechanic. This will change how missions are generated and any additional effects that can be added. But there's a lot more to it. The developers compare it to the wanted system in Grand Theft Auto. Don't get a 6-star, the United States military is going to come after you. I managed to legitly do it once in Vice City, and I did not last very long. But I digress. So the final mission will have a heat value between 0 and 100. At certain thresholds, the final mission will become much harder. By completing jump sectors before the final mission, you will reduce that heat value. So each section you complete before the final mission will show you how much heat will be removed, and it makes choices a lot more important depending on whether you're willing to deal with something or not. From what I see, it looks like enemies are going to be getting a large damage and health buff. But that's, you know, subject to change. There will be additional events piled on. Anybody hate the asteroid storms? Yeah, I'm waving. Yeah. You hate them too? I hate them. So in the example they provided to us, there is an ion rift storm in addition to 2 materia disruptions fields, though they say that was kind of an error to have 2 on their part, but I digress. The former interferes with the ship component panel with any of the squares that are unshielded. The latter makes crafting, ammo refilling, and healing cost more materia, which is resources. They also want to punish players for mistakes. Oh man, seriously? Now, the ideas are vague, but they say if you fail a puzzle or a timed event, then more heat will be added. So more chests and loot will be available, but taking the items will result in additional heat. Currently, there will not be any additional rewards for maintaining a high heat level. They will also be introducing more diverse active events, such as reducing the amount of time you have to complete something, and somehow more time to complete something. I'm not sure how that's going to work. They weren't very clear on it. Instances where you could cheese the enemy AI, I've done it, and it may no longer be possible after update number 3. It might also be possible you can't really off one enemy at a time, and the first enemy will say, "Hey, there's a dipshit over there, go kill him," and they'll all come for you. Occasionally, the robots will wander off and be dandy, and they won't know what they're doing, and they could either get stuck or they just won't pay attention to you. They said they're going to fix that. There was also confirmation that the enemy in a multiplayer game tends to target the host more. So keep that in mind, that is going to be changed. Now, overall, respawn timers for ground enemies are also increased, which means there's overall going to be less of them, but they're going to hurt more. It'll give players a little bit more breathing room, because when the enemies respawn, now they're... Oh god, it's horrible. You just finished killing all these badasses, and then, oh hey, look, more dropship. Boom, you're dead. They're also introducing a new enemy with update number 3, and according to them, they're going to receive a lot of hate for it. So that makes me wonder what's it going to be, and this is pure conjecture. Number 1, it's going to be a seeker that's radioactive, or 2, it's going to be a drone that can fire radioactive seekers. Or 3, it's going to be a bot that's on the ground that has fast melee weapons. Those are 3 things I could think of that would be an utter dick. So, explorables and points of interest. There was a lot of player feedback indicating that the levels felt kind of empty besides the primary mission. I tend to agree, but you have to understand where the game is at the moment. So they're working on new areas and places to visit that could spawn in a particular map. So they showed one of the new sections, and it's kind of a bit like a mini-game. You try to open the door with the multi-tool, but you need a key card. So you'll find a key card within the allotted time, and the door opens. Probably to give you a bunch of loot. It was empty in the demonstration. Now, the key card was placed in front of the door, but I reckon it's probably going to be placed nearby or somewhere else on the map. It won't always be a key card, as the additional unlock requirement can change. Now, some of those doors may be timed, others won't be. Another POI minigame includes a jumping puzzle. God damn it, they're doing an arena net. So you're going to want to look for red light beacons to denote their locations. And if you're adventurous, go explore. There is a new player weapon. It's a semi-auto only bullpup rifle. I think it's called the Bulldog, and it has an optic on top of the carrying handle. Developers say it's a middle ground between the halberd and the javelin being my favorite weapon. I like the idea of this weapon because you could conserve ammunition. And you're going to need to conserve ammunition. The new ship will not be coming out in the March update. I don't know if I said there was a new ship that was coming out, but it is. It's coming out sometime in 2026. We can only hope. So then in the FAQ section, the developers say they don't really know if they're going to introduce higher tiers of foot weapons, but they are considering higher levels for weapons on the ships, and they're thinking about just redoing the whole tier thing in the first place, so it'll be interesting to see if they go that route. They also indicate they wish to balance the weapons in between each tier level that you go up, assuming they keep the current system. They will be adding a preview area for the component panel next to where you select parts for your ship in the hangar, instead of you having to go on the ship in a mission just to see if something fits inside, and then you abandon the mission. Now, this is a welcome change, and it can help me make a decision based on how something fits in the grid. Apparently, there were some complaints about how the jetpack flying in space was too slow, and the developers only had one answer to that. No. They're not changing it. It is also a high priority. I didn't think about this. It's a high priority that they're going to get an offline mode introduced for the game, so that will be good. And probably one of the most important revamps of all, there is a shield revamp coming sometime in the future. I don't know if it's going to be for Update 3. I highly doubt it. But shields are something, they're just fickle and feeble, kind of like some of the people asking for stupid shit. But I digress. And then there's going to be a gauntlet mode, baby. I think they called it endless mode, so basically you keep going and going and going, and it keeps getting harder until you eventually blow up or you give up.
Of course, it's a big boy.
Since in my play group we're a bunch of loot whores, that's going to be fantastic. So again, that's going to hit in late March. I really like where this game has been going. They've been putting out a respectable amount of updates and changes since it started, what, December, January maybe? No, I stand corrected. This was late September. Do I currently think it's worth $20? Yes, especially since they're committed to the project and they're fully funded to get the actual game released. So check it out, find a good play group, and make sure you troll your crew by deactivating the Geller field upon jumping. Thanks for watching.